Welcome to the Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. I hope it's great wherever you are this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whichever applies. I want to just say that this morning we're going to share some experiences on writing a simple course development, simple course development. God, where is the title? I put it way the heck over there where I can't see it, and then when I need to remember it, it leaves my brain. So a simple approach to course development. And what it is myself and Vivek, and maybe Fred will chime in as well, on our own experiences of how we put the courses that we've done, how we put together the content. However, before we get into that, it's always a good idea to have everybody introduce themselves. So I'll start with the last one first this morning. So Fred, how would you like to introduce yourself?
Certainly. Excuse me. I've got to give someone else while I clear my throat. Sorry.
Okay. David.
Hi, I'm Dave Flannery from Rock Falls, Illinois, in the middle of the United States. I'm here representing affordable websites for small business. And right now we have Javita in the chat, YouTube chat, and she says, good morning, everybody. And we are streaming through YouTube and through the website. Back to you, LowellAnn.
Good morning, Javita. Welcome here. All right. So, Fred, are you ready to go now?
I hope so. All of a sudden, there was a frog in my throat. I had to get rid of it. I'm Fred Jones, the creator of Our Future Leaders, where we assist young people to gain leadership and communication skills that will help them become leaders that our world needs. And I'm currently on Vancouver Island in Langford, where Jay hangs out, and a little bit, it's whatever it is, I don't know, 10 kilometers away from Victoria, where LowellAnn is. Mm-hmm. And it's cooled down a little bit. We had sort of a hot spell over the weekend, but now today it's at least back to semi-normal or normal.
Mm-hmm. Right on. How's your, is it Rupert? How's Rupert?
He's doing well. He's been through the wars since I last looked after him. I don't know if I told you that he went blind in one eye, lost an eye since I last saw him.
Oh.
He's had growths, like almost cancerous growths. I'm not sure if they were, but so he's wearing a cone over his head because he cannot lick where he has had stitches taken out recently. But he's been better. So I've been here now over a week and a half, and you can see some of his energy's coming back. Wow. If the owner would not have gone to England if she had known that this was going to happen, but she had already made all the arrangements, and then this happened to Rupert. So now I'm sort of babysitting him a little bit. But I'm looking at him. He's lying on the floor over there. Sometimes he's a very vibrant dog. He's 14 years old, so he looks like a puppy. And most people think he is a puppy and acts like one, but he's been very subdued compared to a year and a half ago. So that's the synopsis of Rupert's status.
Well, they're lucky that they have you, Fred, because you're not a stranger to dogs and dog behavior.
Yeah.
Right on. Cool. So Vivek, how would you like to introduce yourself?
Namaste. My name is Vivek Anand. Literally, it means wisdom and happiness. I am proud to share my belief with Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. I aim to bring time-tested wisdom and happiness together into your business and life by unifying, simplifying, and amplifying simple technology and tools. Wake Technology Private Limited is my company. Together, let us wake up our potential. I am in Reading, UK, England. Yeah, the weather has been quite good. It has cooled down a little bit, but not bad. So it's been, yeah, good weather, I would say.
And you've had a few days off from the job, I know, just because
Yeah,
we've been getting together. So
because I have had my second vaccination just this Saturday. I had to follow it up with our beloved NHS. For whatever reasons, they cancelled my second appointment and then wanted me to rebook it and all that, but there was a delay of just 2 days, luckily. But anyway, so yeah, I thought the second vaccine would have side effects, but so far I haven't seen any really. Maybe I'm feeling a bit sleepy now and again, but other than that, it seems to be okay.
I'm so glad to hear that. I would say the same thing. I didn't have anything, nothing from either one of my shots. So yeah. Right. So what am I going to say about what I'm doing? Well, I'm still working at the care center a couple of days a week, and doing always constantly getting ready for whatever it is that we're going to talk about in these success circle, and doing trying to find some time to do some online posting, etc. So, and I think Alana just popped in just in time, so we'll try and give her the opportunity to introduce herself when she appears. And oh, there's Alana. You popped in just in time to introduce yourself.
Sorry, I have a blocked ear and I didn't, I basically got what you said. Let me turn up my sound. Maybe it'll be better. Hello?
I just asked you to introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Alana. I'm coming to you from Ireland. My company's ALB Digital Marketing Solutions, where I write copy to help increase sales and conversions for businesses.
Right on. I'm glad you made it.
Thank you. I don't know how much I'll hear, but I'll do my best.
I sure hope you don't stumble on what myself and my walking friend did. We both got a virus in one ear, and that ear became totally deaf. We're both wearing a hearing aid in that deaf ear.
Wow.
Yeah. So I hope that doesn't happen to you.
Me too. Me too.
However, if it does, just know that eventually your brain gets used to it. Our brain.
I'm not sure I like that idea, but anyway, yeah.
I guess it's amazing how adaptable our brains are. Yeah.
Wow.
So this morning, we thought we would talk about looking at the simple approach to course development, and Vivek and I will share the process that we followed, and then I'm thinking Fred may want to chime in and share his own experience. Alana, have you ever created a course? No. Okay. And David, what about you? No? Okay. So
It is on my bucket list.
I thought a bucket list was supposed to be about travel.
A bucket list in the United States means it's a list of things that you want to do before you die.
Yes. Well,
So
I think that
Before you hit the bucket.
yeah.
or you kick the bucket.
Before you kick the bucket. And
Yeah.
by the way, I wanted to. I mean, this is just superfluous fun. But Fred, when you said you had a frog in your throat, one of the things that Robin and I have been doing for several years now is collecting all those weird expressions that we use in our language. And, with the question, where did that come from? And as a reminder, how difficult it is for people to learn English when you've got all these expressions that have a meaning. So thank you for using that one. I'm going to add it to our list. So, and when you hear something like that, if you're paying attention to it, and I might say the reason we were paying attention to it was Robin's. I guess that would have been a couple of years ago. Robin's granddaughter is 14 now, so she might have been 12 when all this started. She was sent home from school asking her to pay attention to the weird expressions that her parents might use. And she didn't notice any. I mean, and that was the point. They weren't weird to her because she grew up with them. So then we started saying, all right, so what are some of the expressions? And we were able to brainstorm a few. But then as time goes on, up pops another one, and we go, where the heck did that come from? And what does that mean?
Can I share one that I came across not recently, but
Yeah.
it might be a typical British one. I don't know, but it is take a butcher's at this.
Now say it again.
Take a butcher's at this.
Take a butcher.
Butchers at this.
What's a butcher's?
Butcher. Butcher is someone who slaughters the animals. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It apparently it comes from butcher's look.
Is that a novel or something?
No.
Oh.
They look at the meat and then decide which one should go first. And
I take a butcher's. Okay, I got it now. All right. Wow. Now that's a new one. I haven't heard that one. Fred.
I've got one that I often use, and most people don't know where it comes from. So here's a great opportunity. I wonder if I say there's horses for courses. What does that mean to you?
Horses for courses.
I think that might be South African, because I don't know where. No, most people don't know when I say that. It means certain race horses run better on different race courses. So when you're in an environment that is, appropriate to you, you can do better. And I use that sometimes, and people look at me strangely, and I say, where did I get that from? I think that's probably South African. I don't know.
Oh, well now
That's why I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Course,
Horses for courses.
Horses for courses. Wow. Interesting. Anyway, we've been keeping the list of all these things in on our phones using Keep, okay, and we've got pages and pages of these things. It is just amazing. You know, in general conversation, something comes up, and then if you're aware and you're paying attention, you start to say, "Well, would somebody learning the language, how would they know exactly what that means?" No, I mean, I guess those are called idioms. Are they, Alana? Is that the word idiom? Does that sound right to you?
It sounds like slang to me.
Oh,
I mean, that's what I was thinking, or slang
slang.
expressions.
Oh,
Yeah,
hmm.
it could be an idiom.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I'd have to look it up.
Oh, do look it up and let us know. What's the definition of an idiom? I could be wrong there, but yeah.
It's a group. Okay, so it says here, a group of words established by usage as having a meaning not deducible from those of the individual words.
Aha, that's
such
what it
as
is.
over the moon, see the light.
Yes, that's exactly what these are. It's a list of idioms. So the one that I've used a few times, you know, we go to the pub, and sometimes we'll go for lunch, and I've noticed that the younger generation have no idea what this means. So you could say, "Oh, the sun is over the yard arm. I guess I can have a beer." And the waitress will look at you as though you've got a screw loose up here.
They don't know what a yard arm is, huh?
Exactly. And I mean, that expression has been around for a long time.
So you just said another one, a screw loose.
Oh. Fred, did you have another one to offer?
No, I just wanted to mention that it is a time of it's a sign of your age often. I recall I was selling computer software, and people had no idea how old I was. Mm-hmm. But I must have said something, a phrase that older people use.
Right.
And someone recognized that phrase as only old people use that phrase.
Oh, God.
And and all of a sudden, the whole demeanor changed of this person. That I wasn't some bright young guy who knew about computers. I was some old guy who probably didn't know anything about computers.
I know.
Ageism. Really, it was ageism because I said something that was, I remember that very clearly. I thought, oh, I don't know what I said because I just was talking, but I must have said a phrase that they realized only an older person would be using that phrase. Because they couldn't see us. We were talking on the phone.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Wow.
I got one.
What?
It was in Scotland, first written down in Scotland in 1628, and it's, "If wishes were horses, beggars would ride." Oh. My mother used to tell me that I would always say, "I wish we could go swimming. I wish we could do this. I wish we could do that." And every time I would say that, that would be her phrase, her answer to me.
I'm writing it down. If wishes were horses, a beggar would ride.
That's beggars would ride. Not a beggar, it's beggars.
Okay, beggars would ride. Okay.
Well, I'm a beggar at that point.
Yeah.
Little kid.
Oh, interesting. Anyway, I don't know enough about other languages to know whether idioms are really popular in other languages, but they sure are in the English language, I know. And some of them come out of literature, some of them come out of God knows where, you know. It's just, yeah. But boy, when you start collecting them, you'd be amazed. And what happens to Robin and I is because we've been collecting them just for fun. Another one will come up and she'll say or I'll say, "Oh my God, there goes another one. Get out your phone." Anyway, but Robin's granddaughter.
We
was-
are way out of the topic today.
Oh yeah, but we're just playing. We're just playing. I was waiting for you to appear, filling time for you to appear. Okay, so we can get down to business now. Anyway, it's always fun to josh around and play a little bit, I think, don't you? So, yeah. So I have a bit of a presentation that Vivek is going to bring up. And I do hope that we can be a little bit more conversational about this than presentation style, so to speak. Now, when that popped up, everything that I had up just disappeared. So
Exactly what I was mentioning in
Yeah.
the green room.
here
That
it-
is one, I don't know, Zoom needs to fix it.
yeah.
Do a screen share, everything goes all.
It goes berserk. Yeah. So I have my presenter notes up in front of me, and
Just vanished somewhere.
and I've got them back. So basically, I just want to make sure that everybody's aware. I mean, we created the Of course, and what we're going to do is share our experience of creating the content this time. So for anybody who might be watching this later, the Of course was about how to post a course, the course that you want to do, how to do it on your website using Google products. So that was all about technology. What we wanted to talk about this morning was not the technology, but the content. So I know that Vivek and I did this as a collaborative, created the course as a collaborative affair, and I know that Fred was doing it alone. And one of the things that seems to pop up for me is sometimes it's really a lot easier to do things in partnership, because you've got two pairs of eyes and two brains working on something. Sometimes, most of the time, that works really, really well. Other times, if the two parties don't necessarily agree, it means that both have to listen carefully and consider the other opinion, etc. It is a good lesson in collaboration for sure. So the other thing I wanted to acknowledge is that when we did this course, when you look at the steps that I'm going to present, the last steps talk about testing and adjusting, etc. And we put it all together, put it out there, and then Fred and Javita and Alana went through the course and gave us feedback, and we, as a result of the feedback we received, we have made a number of changes to the content. And as we were going through, we thought, the content would look like this, and then as we were going through things, we realized, no, that has to come before that, etc. So it was quite an experience. So Is there anything else that I want to say about that? No, I don't think so. So we can move on to the next one. And so basically what I'm going to do, and this is in 2 slides because there was too much on one slide. So here are the first 5 steps. And I'm trying to use some terminology that comes out of the adult education program that I did years ago. And some of it comes out of my going online and doing a little bit of research to remind myself how all of this works. So the terminology is educational. So, but as I look back at Vivek, when we decided we were going to do this, of course, the first thing we did, which is not part of this, but the first thing we did was we talked about being collaborative, becoming a team, and what would that look like, and whose role was to do what, etc. We created sort of an agreement. I don't think we've ever looked at it because as a coach, I've always known the conversation was way more important than the written document. So we did do that. And then the next thing we did was we talked about our target audience. And so that was in the process of creating a course of any kind. That's your first step. So then determining the needs and the wants of that target audience, and then determining from those needs and wants, what can I teach that will help them, determining that, and then setting goals and listing the learning objectives. And then from that, deciding on a course title. Then we'll move on to the next slide, Vivek. Then deciding on the delivery methods and creating an outline containing all of the above, and then creating each module or lesson, whatever term you want to use, for each learning objective. And then you see at the end here, test, evaluate, and adjust and deliver. And it seems as though what we did was we did the delivery first, and then we did the testing and evaluating and adjusting. So we certainly learn as we go. So we're going to look at each one of these steps in a little bit more detail. And before we do that, Fred, when you were, do these steps kind of follow anything like what you did?
I finally found the unmute. To a certain extent, because I used your course to create it, a lot of that is incorporated in your course. My biggest challenge was I knew who my target market was, but setting up the parameters of what I wanted to answer, like I think it's step number 2, needs or wants of that target market, was a big challenge for me, I think, before I...
Right.
That was the biggest. It took me a long time to get to know what the content should be, and that's where it was, because I wanted to tell them everything.
Yeah.
And that's not good. Mm-hmm. So I actually did it took me months to try and determine that part. I read articles of all sorts. There was one article 38 pages long on the writing a course, and there was others. Finally, I found a couple people that made sense to me, to my particular requirements of setting up and finding out what I should put in the course. And I ended up dividing my original idea, because I did the outline which is part of your course,
Mm-hmm.
setting up a course. And then I divided that into two. And I said, no, I want to get them to that stage. Once I get them to stage one, then they need the rest of the information. They don't need all that before they get to that first stage. So it was really, that was a big challenge for me.
So that makes me think that the list that I've made here could have something added to the when you're deciding. Let me go back to previous determining the learning needs and wants. I guess would be and prioritizing. And prioritizing maybe in relation to what the writer knows, you know. So that's really interesting, Fred. I mean, you you have this big wide thing, and then to try to narrow it down. What are the most important factors? Yeah,
And
interesting.
and at the moment, particularly, there are so many people trying to say, create a course, create a course. And they all have their own angles. I mean, I don't know how many webinars I listened to. I don't know how many people I just said, oh, maybe they have some answers. It was quite crazy. Some, I'm not going to list any of them particularly, but even Mira Cotthand was a help because she tries to simplify things and not make everything complicated. But some of them, like I said, the 38-page article with questions and doing, I thought, wow, that's absolutely overwhelming for me. What the course that this lady has done, and it's been very successful in her area, isn't anything near what I envisaged.
Right.
But, I looked at the 38 pages and said, well, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming. So until I found someone who could make it simple for me, and that took me months. That's why at first I signed up and you didn't see anything from me because I was really, really struggling with that part.
Right. Okay. And so there's an upgrade. We could say, being able to prioritize and determine what is most important. Yeah. Okay. Those are the steps that we're going to cover, and we'll talk about them all a little bit more here. So Vivek, if you want to go on to the next slide. So here was, and I'm pretty sure that everybody has seen this before, but we did do the work around identifying the target audience. And as you can see on the slide, on the right-hand side, you can see that I had a model for creating a persona, and we used that model and discussed it fully, between us. And so, as you can see, who is your target audience? What do they know? What do we know about them? Where are they? What is their their learning style? What is their story? What are they interested in or frustrated about? What are their fears, their challenges, and their goals and desires? And I'm sure there was when we talked about this style, we had some details in there, and also on that we detailed their experience with digital use and things of that nature. So we spent quite a bit of time figuring out who Alex was. And we chose Alex because it was, we decided it was a male, a genderless name. So, because we didn't want to focus only on women or only on men. So that was the other thing. So that took us a while. And especially when you're working collaboratively, you have to. For us, we had find convenient times for both of us, because we both have other jobs and so forth. So that took a while. So then, all right. So once we've identified the target audience, then we began to realize that there's some things. How do you determine their needs and their wants? And a lot of the literature, and I'm sure Fred will agree with this one as well, that on the one hand, we do need to make some assumptions about the target audience based on our own experience and our own knowledge, etc., etc. But lots of the other materials out there will suggest that you do lots of research and or do a survey. And a lot of the course development literature that I've covered, a lot of them recommend that you do a survey before you ever write anything. Excuse me, that way you can determine whether there's any interest in that topic or not. But even if you, I mean, to do a survey, you have to have access to a large audience in order to make the information that you get back of any value. So, but even if you don't have a big target audience starting out, you can do some research. One way would be, let's say, to go to and join a group or two on Facebook that are in there for, in a group that's related to whatever your topic, and to observe what kinds of questions people are asking and so forth. So you can learn quite a bit by doing some research. But this is rather than researching how to do it, what we mean here is doing research on the target audience, the people. So okay, so let's go on. And yes, we may have we may have identified what their needs and wants are and all those things, but is this something, do I have something that I could teach them? And if so, then that becomes the topic of the course, and we have to sort of be clear about what it's about. So I mean, we're definitely not going to teach a course if we don't know anything about it, right? Fred is nodding there and saying, yeah, you're right. It's got to be something you've either had experience in, or you have knowledge in, or you have skills in. Yeah. Okay, so the next one, and here's where I did a bit of while I was doing some research here, was I went online and discovered a few sites, mostly university sites. When I typed in my topic into search, it was mostly university sites that came up. But I found this, what I'm showing you here, I found it extremely helpful, and it was kind of a really nice clarification that helped me for sure. So this comes from the University of Toronto website. I think it's their medical school website. And so basically what they make a differentiation between goals and learning objectives. So, and this is a direct quote from what I found. A goal A course goal states the purpose of the course in a general way. It addresses who might be interested in attending and why. But it can also be considered a statement of purpose. And I thought that was really, really useful. And then in there, and by the way, there's a paper that David is going to share, and it's in the text, the chat text in Zoom here. It comes from a paper about writing goals and objectives that I found very helpful because it went into details about the kind of language to use and all of that. Anyway, learning objectives. And this is about what participants will be able to accomplish at the end of the course. And that's from the participant's perspective, but from the instructor's perspective, these objectives tells the instructor what needs to be included in the course. So again, as I say, I took these definitions from that paper on setting goals and learning objectives. So there are going to, from the instructor's perspective, the learning objectives, there are going to be lots of them, right? So then, once we determined what we were going to cover, what those learning objectives were, then we said, well, we've got to decide on a course title. And this took quite a bit of brainstorming for us. And I even have a spreadsheet somewhere where we did a brainstorm, and we may have even put that out to the Success Circle at one stage of the game. But I know that the title that we came up with came from Paul. It was Paul. It was kind of a joke in a sort of a way. Of course, the of course course. Does it really tell the viewer or the participant what the course is about? No, it doesn't. So we had to be careful about being able to articulate that. So then the next step was looking at the delivery methods. What are we going to do? What are the methods that we're going to do? And as you can see here, there's a variety of ways. It can be a lecture or a group discussion or a reading assignment or research assignment or a writing assignment. There can be all kinds of different delivery methods. And as you're putting together a course, you may use a combination of those. I mean, one learning objective may require one of those methods, while another would do another. And in some cases, we kind of used a combination, as I recall. Yeah. So, but being able to say what that excuse me, what that's going to be. I've got to mute myself and cough here. Sorry, and that will even though I muted myself, given the time delay, that will probably show up in the video. Now I've lost my notes again. Where did they go? Isn't this hilarious? Where did they go? There they are. Just because I did something, I did a mute, everything disappeared. Okay, so we've decided on some delivery methodologies. And so now what we did was we created an outline document. And part of the reason that we felt it was necessary to do this was for one thing, it helped us stay focused on exactly what we wanted to do. But we also knew that at some point we're going to have to create a landing page. And so if we put all this information into a course outline, that would help us do that. So on this slide, you can see that we've included the headers of the outline document, and on the other side you can see just a screenshot of the first page of the one that we did. And the one that we did, David, is in the chat for Zoom, because we did share the course outline that we did. So you can see that we added a few things, including the description. That would be the goal, and as we defined it just a few minutes ago, and then the prerequisites, and a little bit about both Vivek and I, so the designer bio and contact information, and then the course objectives and outcomes, and instructional methods and materials, and the expected schedule and duration, and the evaluation feedback, and then the list of modules. So we had that, we started putting that together before we ever wrote anything.
I have that posted.
Thank you. So on the last page of the course outline, we created a list of the modules, and so there was one module for each of the course objectives. So again, we've posted a screenshot of the first page so you could see what it looked like. And so here is, and this, the titles here I took right out of my adult education program. So the module title, the objective, in other words, what is to be learned, the orientation explains why and what the benefits are, and then the experience, like what are you doing, and so it might be an exercise or whatever the activity is, and then the application, how does it fit everything else that we're doing, and there might even be an exercise there, and then a piece about how to what's the evaluation, giving it a try, and what happened, etc. So in speaking about the evaluation piece, that was part of the reason why in our course we added the form. After we had the document that had the course content or the module content, and then we had the form. And in there, that was where the participant had the opportunity to talk about what the experience, what was done, what the experience was, and what any feedback or any questions. So that was why we did it the way we did it. So then once we had that together, then it's time to write your module. And of course, the way we in our course, we said it was really important to make sure that each of your modules was you used a consistent format. And the reason for that was because we were creating the website, but also for the benefit of the participant. If everything is consistent for the participant, then it's easier for them to move forward and make sense out of everything. So, and sometimes people where was I going? Sometimes people don't if the visuals are not consistent, sometimes they're sort of unable to follow through. And the other thing I wanted to say was for us it was 10 modules, because those were the 10 things that we wanted to make sure people knew how to do. You might, if you're writing, you might have more than 10 learning objectives, or you might have fewer. It's really depending on what exactly you want your participants to learn. So then so that's the end, and I just wanted, as I've said earlier, in our case we did step 10 first, and then we did step 9. So but also the other thing that we also wanted to say, and David has the link, if anybody has a desire to create a course and do a course outline, we are providing a copy of the template for that. So just to make it easy to follow. So now, I guess the next place for us to go is ask, what questions or comments might you have about this? And I think we can stop screen sharing now. Yeah. Does that hit a chord for? Did that hit a chord for anybody, or did it? We had Vivek and I had a conversation about, is that simple enough? And Vivek, say what your reaction to that question was.
I was like, I gave an example of you have a car, and if you have never opened the bonnet of the car and at least filled the water for the, you have the windshield and you have the windshield spray, you have that soap or whatever it comes to clean the, as you're driving, you press a button and the water sprays on the screen and wiper comes and cleans the whatever is on the screen on the windshield. If you have never done even that, you have never opened the bonnet of your car, you have never opened the lid and poured water into it, you have never done even that. At that point, if we ask you to open the bonnet and fill water into that, you'll find so many lids. Which one to open? Oh, there is engine oil, there is gear oil, and so many knobs, levers, and it will be confusing for you. So even though the objective is very simple, if you have never done it before, a simple thing, we are not asking you to change the engine oil, no, asking you to top up the water tank.
So simple
it
steps
will still be difficult.
Yes, simple steps can seem complex to other people, I guess.
Well, to me, it makes all sense, and it looks like it's outlined very well, and it's you know, just have to go through the process. My problem is I don't have a real good course, although we've come up with a course that we're going to do. We've got to wait for some time for the results that we're hoping will happen. If they happen, then we can do the course. If they go and we get 5 people buying our products and off of this new way of selling stuff, then it, you know, we're not going to do the course. So there's that factor. And so we need proof of concept, I guess, is what we're waiting for. Then once we get proof of concept, then we've got to sit down and talk about what we're going to give, and what we're going to teach, who we're going to teach, and go through that whole process. And it's outlined very well, and it makes it a lot easier for someone that doesn't understand what's going on to understand it. I'm very impressed with what you guys have done so far. I'm looking forward to the day when I can purchase it, and then
when you've got the time.
That's the other problem, is getting the time. But it really, it's all a matter, it's not a matter of getting time, it's all a matter of priority. When it becomes a priority. Right now, it's first we got to do the proof of concept, and if the concept doesn't prove out, then it won't become a priority. If it does prove out, then that becomes becomes a priority, because we want to give this information out, but we want to be rewarded for it, giving that information out. And of course, is a very easy way to do that. Or I shouldn't say easy. Making a course is never going to be easy, and the more people you have involved with it, the harder it becomes. When it's just you making the decisions, you can make the decisions. I know Fred agonized for a while, but it's a lot easier than having to have a second person that has their own idea and concept of what's going to happen, and your idea and concept is totally different. And
but there's a value in that collaboration, because the other person has if the other person has a different point of view, it's well worth considering.
I'm not saying it's
it's a little more it certainly is more time consuming, but it certainly is valuable to because if you're doing it all yourself, then you got to get somebody else's feedback for sure. So the other thing I was going to mention was how important it is. Like many people, a step 1, step 2, like a linear step-by-step process helps them do it. And that's what we did. But having gone through the course with, especially with Fred, and I think it was some feedback we may have got from Javita as well, we realized that the step-by-step works, yes, but some people need that overall picture first. So we adjusted our course by going in and offering that overall picture first, so that they get a bigger context, and then can follow the step-by-step. So that was a major learning for us. So Alana.
I just wanted to ask, thank you very much for the presentation, by the way. I learned a lot more about what goes into actually creating your creative process. So my question is, how long did it take you from inception of the idea to publishing?
You would ask that, wouldn't you? It took us a whole year.
A year, okay, because I know that these things would take quite a long time. So yeah.
Now,
so people should know that that they're not going to turn it out in a couple of months, right?
Well, having said that, a lot of the reason it took that long was that we both have other responsibilities, and for us to, and we're also dealing with a time zone factor. So by the time we factored in the time zone and when we're both available, it spread it out over.
And I also think that the early stage of the creating process is the hardest part, where you have to figure out who your market is and what topics you're going to cover in the course. Like even before you get to all that, there's so much marketing and research that goes into that before you even start writing it. Yeah. So I'm in awe and a little intimidated.
Well, but it was a really satisfying process, wasn't it, Vivek? Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, David.
Yeah, Fred, is your course completed?
Yeah.
And how long did it take you?
And that's a good question. On the 24th of February, this is not 100%, I tried to look at my emails. I mentioned to LowellAnn that I think I could be a tester. On the 10th of March, I was doing my research because there were so many people talking about courses. On the 10th of March, I shared an email with LowellAnn about what Mira Cotthand was saying. She had a video, 7 Steps to Creating an Online Course, which I thought might help her when she's talking to others, and she responded. So that was February, March. By May, it took me 2 months to sort all this stuff out, to get it. I mean, I did that outline. You saw that outline which you had the blocks. I did that. I have one that looks something like that for the initial. And then I started thinking, that's too much. I want to get them to a certain stage, so I broke it into 2 courses. I've got course A and course B. If you finish course A, then it's time to do course B. But you don't need the rest of the stuff if you haven't got to the end of course A, because that's really the key. It was setting up a youth club, and I got them to where they're actually having meetings now. Once they have meetings, there's a lot more they need to know. But if they're never going to set up a meeting, they don't need to know all that other stuff. So that's why I put that in course B. So on May the 18th, so now we're talking March, April, May, 2 months later, I was starting to get questions, and that's when Vivek and LowellAnn set up a Zoom meeting to sort out some of the issues I was having. So I had started in May. By the end of June, I had finished my course. Well, probably it was about 6 to 8 weeks of doing the course, now that I had sort of settled on it. And I made some mistakes. I made some assumptions that were incorrect, and LowellAnn and Vivek said, oh, that was the wrong thing. So that helped them, I think, saying, oh, this character went and did things that he didn't have to do and went down the wrong thing, had to come back and redo things. Because I made assumptions. I read something and I thought that's what it meant, but it wasn't what it meant. So I think if it was, here's what I did learn. And I think it's important that you have interaction with your students. So if, for example, part 1 of it is find your target market, that's fine. But I think you need interaction with the people to say, have you found your target market? If not, how can I help you? And have regular sessions with your students. So that's exactly what I think, because you overwhelm them with all this stuff. So I think that's the key, and I think that can make it. I would expect for someone to finish my course, it would take 2 months for them to go through my course with me having regular sessions with them. And there's about 6 steps in my first course. Setting up the meeting. Have they done this? Have they done that? Are they having problems with that? Now, it's not with the course they're having problems. If the problem is finding candidates to set up a youth club, finding a venue to set up a youth club, all of those things. And if they don't do that, there's other things as well. But it goes through that. How can I help them? And then I think they will. And that's something I learned from I think her name is Maria Murgatroyd. She has done very well with courses, and she'll for $2,000 she'll help you set up your course, if not $3,000. I don't know what it is, but you will be successful. I probably with her, but she is interacting with you all along going through that course. So I think that's a key element, and that's something I've tried to adapt. Is that as they go through module 1, we will have a discussion. How did it go? How are you doing? What's your challenges with getting module 1? Same, I have module 6, so I have 6 modules, and I think they could probably set up a club in 2 months.
So it took you basically,
But yeah,
basically about 4 months, maybe 5 months to get everything set. Which
yeah,
isn't,
yeah.
for a first time doing a course isn't bad. You probably could cut that in half on the second one.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, the second one I've done. I mean, like, yeah, because that was when I originally did the plan. But then I knew all the little idiosyncrasies that I had missed in the first one, and that LowellAnn and Vivek had to help me with.
Right.
And now it was a piece of cake, because now I knew exactly where to go and what to do to set up the modules. I was going down rabbit holes.
I mean,
and they pulled me out of the rabbit hole and put me back on the track again. And once I'd done that, the first course, then I could do the second course easily. I didn't have to have them help me. So I would think, I would think if somebody was setting up a youth club, once they've been through the process once, the second time they wouldn't even need the course. So that's it. But you need to handhold them on the first time, I think, even if it's find your target market or have you found it, because they'll go down a rabbit hole and then they never get back on track again. And I think Maria, I think her first name is Maria, Murgatroyd is her last name. I think that's why she's been so successful. But she charges a lot of money for it, what she's doing compared to what LowellAnn and Vivek have done. But in my case, I'm not charging anything, and I don't want to, because this is a non-profit organization. I want to set up a youth club, so I don't need to charge anything. It's so that's not the problem. The problem is get people to go through the course and start youth clubs. That's what it's all about. So,
have you had anybody go through it yet?
I've had one person who started, and he made a mistake, and when he logged in, and I had to go sort that out. He put a space in a certain place, and that it didn't like the space. So I've had a good meeting with him. So I need to follow up with him again to see how he's going. So we had a good talk. So that was good. He's in Malaysia and he wants to start a youth club. So yes.
Yeah. But that's the other thing we all have to recognize is that some people will sign up for something, even buy something, and do one step of something and not go back to it, not stay with it. That's human nature.
And that's not our objective. I mean, it's just sell courses that nobody and to get money, and then.
No.
But there are people out there telling you, set up a course, we can do it in 2 weeks, and we can do, I have this formula, and we'll, it's unbelievable. The amount of people are touting courses, particularly, I think, since COVID-19 came out. Right. Courses that's the way to make money now. It's unbelievable. It's atrocious in a way.
Well, I did stumble on one person, and I don't even remember who. I took notes on it, but unfortunately, I didn't record who it was or where I got it. But the process recommended there was, don't write a damn thing. Think about something you'd like to teach. If you've got a big audience, like get in touch with that audience, maybe through a survey or whatever, and ask questions. When it comes to, let's say, online course development, what are the biggest challenges you are facing? And there's a series of 8 questions that this person recommended. And then taking the results of that survey to determine what the learning objectives would be.
Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about. Probably you shared it with me. And in fact, if I remember it correctly, that person was saying, don't write even a single word about your course until someone has actually signed up.
Right. That's right.
So that person is actually telling you to sell the course first, then create
Yeah.
it.
And
You're essentially selling something which does not even exist,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
that I said, oh, okay, this seems a bit.
Well,
You ask them to learn and then teach them, right?
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, the
Fred,
question,
you are muted.
the
Yeah,
question,
I'm gonna have to leave shortly, but all I wanted to, if I may add, I really appreciate all the help, all the assistance that Vivek and LowellAnn gave me. There was no way I could have done that course without you too. It was unbelievable, and I really learned a lot.
yeah.
It's an excellent technique you have, especially specifically using Google. That is
Oh, yeah.
wonderful.
It
That is
is.
fantastic compared to all those other people selling whatever they have. You're way ahead of the curve, in my opinion, on that. You are, it's phenomenal what you've done. The Google, using Google products to create a
And that was
course.
the intent of the course.
Yeah, and it's
I mean,
phenomenal.
today we just outlined the steps we took in our process of doing it, and there's going to be more than one.
So I think you're on a great track. It's not easy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not easy what you've started. It's bigger than I think you thought, but I think you have something much better than a lot of those other people, with the Google Docs. And, again, it's your target market. You have to hit the right target market. Some of those other people, again, Maria Murgatroyd has got a great following. She does a wonderful job for her target market, which is different than, and doesn't suit me. But she had some great tips. I liked some of her tips, so I went through a lot of her material.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Anyway, I
there
must go.
was- Well, thank you, Fred, for that. I think we all must go because I'm looking at the time. My God, that just flew by. Maybe I had more. I thought I would whistle through that faster than I did. Anyway, it's time to wish everyone farewell by saying it's important to do what you love with passion, and to let you know that next week's topic is the best copywriting course. And I know that some of us have all been at least partially doing that. I'm not even all the way through it, and I already know that there's so much about it that I just love. So we thought it would be a group discussion about our own experience of that course. So, having said that, I will do an Alt 4 and wish you all so long.